Hiya guys, hi to everyone out there, hope you're all keeping safe and well. It's a Friday and I was thinking of what happens in the centre ordinarily on a Friday, and it's a community kitchen, and they usually have these beautiful smells and share a lot of stories over some food. So I thought what we could do is bring our kitchen to you guys for once. So Nathan's a big master chef in our kitchen, and I'm going to be filming him doing what he normally does for dinner. So he's going to bring you a nice slow cooked meal. So enjoy.
Alright, swapping over. Oh, look at that. Upside down, Miss Jane. Today I'm going to be cooking a beef stroganoff from scratch, and it's going to be a little bit different because doing it just so how our family will eat it, and I'll explain as we go along. So enjoy. G'day, welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be doing a slow cooked beef casserole, sort of like a stroganoff, I suppose, in the end. But I'm also going to go through some alternatives, basically using similar technique, slightly different ingredients to end up with a myriad of different beautiful dishes with whatever you've got in your larder and in your fridge, and what meat you can get from the supermarket. So first things first, let's wash the hands. So you all know what that's about these days. So good 20 seconds of washing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear, whoever's birthday it is. Happy birthday to you. Who'd have thought 10 years it's working in clean rooms would come in handy. Alright. Remember not to touch my face. That's about the hardest thing. So today we're doing a beef dish. As I said, like a stroganoff. And I'm going to show you some alternatives of what we can be doing. First of all, we're just going to make a seasoning mix so that we can season the beef before we brown it. So just a little bit of flour. Shh, look away, Esther, because this aspect is not keto friendly, but we try to minimise the amount of flour. And I'll be adapting this recipe for my family's needs, which means I'm going to be making it keto friendly, and I'll be avoiding capsicum and chili because several members of my family can't use it. So here we go, a bit of flour, a bit of ground white pepper, black pepper will do, doesn't particularly matter, some salt, about that much, a bit more, a bit less, doesn't matter, mix it up. I'm going to use a little bit of cumin, so I really like the flavour, I think it works really well with beef, about an amount, half a teaspoon, an amount. At this stage you could put paprika in, you could do dried chili, if you wanted to go more Asian in flavour, so Indian, you could use turmeric at this stage with your beef, a little bit of curry powder is great, Chinese 5-spice works really well as well as a seasoning, or make up your own with a bit of cinnamon, some ground nutmeg, a bit of ginger, mustard seeds ground, a nice cloves we'd put in a little bit later and sparingly. be very careful with cloves. 1 or 2. But this is all for the slow cooking. So I'm using beef. I've got about half a kilo here of gravy beef. You could use chuck steak. You could use any lower quality budget cuts, oxtail. It really doesn't matter. You can also use lamb off cuts. You can use chicken pieces or chicken fillets. Now the fillets will be easier to cook and easier to eat, but the pieces with the bones in it give you more flavour. So you could also use this for ossobuco, which is the shin beef with the bone in it. That bone will give you extra flavour with the slow cooking process, and easier to get out. Same with the lamb pieces, they give you some nice flavour with the bones and the sinew as well. So as I said, this is about half a kilo of gravy beef, and this is going to be generous servings for 4 or 5 people. Generally when you're cooking, it's about 200 grams of protein, be it meat or tofu or whatever, per serving. With slow cook, because of the veggies and what you serve it with, you can actually bring that down to closer to 100 grams per serving. So I'm just honing my knife. Much easier to cut with a well-honed knife. Now, because it's a strog, we want it in strips. Not too small, or they'll just sort of disintegrate and disappear as we slow cook it. We'll just pop that into our seasoning mix. Good old-fashioned Tupperware marinator there, that's really good for this. Be careful not to cut off any fingers.
So I suppose you could use any container to do this. It doesn't need to be a Tupperware container.
No, you're right, Es. You could use ice cream bucket. You could use anything that's clean that you can put a lid on. Is what's important, because the next step, where we get a good coating, I'll show you, it gets a bit dynamic. So that starts to get important. Don't trim off fat. Don't trim off sinew. Don't trim off bone. If the cuts you've got have got those, because they're flavour, and you can take them out when you're serving, but those, as you cook slowly, will add a lot of really good flavour. Now, if I was cutting for a casserole, I'd cut my pieces about this big. And because it's slow cooked, it doesn't really matter. You can put whole pieces in. It's just how you're going to serve it, because if you use whole pieces of meat and slow cook it, if you cook it for 4 or 5 hours, what will happen is you'll be just have to use a fork and pull it apart for a pulled beef or a pulled pork or pulled lamb or the like. So it just depends on what your plans for serving are. A little bit of bonus parsley in for us there. So alright, so that is our beef. There. Alright, so as I said, if you've got an ice cream bucket or any kind of container, it doesn't really matter.
But you can also use a plastic bag.
Definitely. Just be careful with a plastic bag that it's not being used to bring in your bleach or whatever from the supermarket. That it's a nice clean one. It's just got to be food aware. And don't use one that's been sitting in the back of the car for 6 months.
Freezer bags.
Freezer bags are really good. Fresh, clean ones. So I'm just going to show you what this looks like. Ta-da! Nice and dusted, evenly thing. So we'll just let that sit and marinate. I'm going to wash my chopping board because we've just been cutting raw meat on that. If you're working in food area, of course you would not use the same chopping board. You have different chopping boards for different meats and veggies and things like that. At home I have 2 chopping boards, both of them bamboo. And you know what? When they get manky and horrible, throw them out. Not worth killing your family with a manky chopping board. Not that expensive.
There you could show people the handy tip celery.
Definitely. Here's some celery that we're going to be using today. I mean, when we buy from the shops, it looks like this. As it's after being sitting in the fridge for a day or two, it starts to get a bit sad and wilty. So here's just a cup. You cut the ends off the celery and sit it in water, and nice and crisp, beautiful. So that's all you really need to keep your celery nice and crisp for much longer.
But make sure you change your water if you're not going to use it straight away.
Yes.
Because it can get manky too.
Rather manky. The best thing is if you grow your own, you can just pick what you need on the day and leave the rest on the plant. Our celery went a bit weird this year, so we're living off supermarket celery.
Oh, it's actually not bad now. Give it a try later.
Right, so I'm just going to quickly grab a bowl for putting my veggies in.
This could be noisy.
It could be noisy. No, I've actually used one of it earlier. It's in the dishwasher. It's a little bit noisy.
Our bowl cupboard may need a toner.
Just sit here. So the flavour base for just about any savoury dish, and it's an Italian thing. I don't know who I stole it off, one of the TV chefs, but onions, celery, carrot. But because of our keto restraints here, not using carrot. So celery and onion, and got to get some garlic out of the fridge. You can use fresh garlic. I just don't tend to. I just like how easy it is to use jarred, pre-crushed garlic. So Esther's just grabbing it out of the fridge for me right now. It'll be towards the top usually. Lovely.
Multitasking.
Multitasking. That'll be ginger. No, not. You can use ginger at this stage. We're not.
Looks remarkably. Oh, there we go. It's bigger.
There we go. Chopped Australian garlic. Better quality than the Chinese stuff, but
harder to get.
More expensive, and the Chinese stuff actually works okay. Don't tell the foodies that. So today we're going to be starting off with a flavour base of onion and celery and garlic and mushroom, because we're doing a stroggy type dish. Now, avert your eyes as I'm peeling the onion. Sometimes it works really well, and sometimes it doesn't, and I waste a bit, but I'm going to use 2 onions today. So just a small or medium onion. You can use less, you can use more. You can use leeks instead of onions for a milder taste. Up to you. Red onions have a milder taste and look a bit fancier, though in a slow cooked dish they tend to dissolve into nothing anyway, so you lose the fancier thing, but they do have a milder taste to the brown onions and the white onions. I just use brown onions because I like them. I like to use white. I don't really care.
Generally, the less expensive.
I think they are, yeah, I think you're right there. Now, just Now, again, look away if you're a chefy type person. I'm not a master knifesman. But we're just going to do a sort of a large cubing of our veggies because it's with slow cooking, and you can actually do a bit of variety in sizes. So the smaller it is, the more it'll dissolve into the sauce. The bigger you'll end up with actually some leftover at the end segments. So we might leave. See how this is this size? I might leave one onion that size and one onion chopped. So they'll go into our now celery. We use all our celery actually up here. Now celery is almost like 3 different veggies in one. The leaves are actually quite useful. They're beautiful for giving a good rich savoury flavour, and so I've got a slow cook stock over that's happening on the stove at the moment. I'm going to be using a bit of that today. That's where I use the celery tops for, much to Esther's disgust because she loves my beef bone broth, but I've got some more bones there to do another batch. The green part of the celery is what you're very used to, and that's great for salads or dipping or just general purpose use. It's sweet and savoury and lovely. And then there's this white part of the celery, that's sort of the core part. That's a milder taste again, and sometimes if you're doing sauces and the like, where you want a mild, sweet, savoury flavour in it, you can just use the white part. It's slightly different. Now I'm just cutting this bit off because it's a bit dirty. Put that aside for the moment. And I'm just cutting this into pieces that I can manage on my chopping board. Of course I cleaned all my benches very well before I started. Again, just a coarse chop because we're slow cooking. Again, look away, people with actual knife skills. I'll just work on if I don't include any of my fingers in the dish. It's a good day.
Red tomatoes.
So this goes in. Look, if you're being really careful, you can leave the leaves out and add them in a little bit later. We'll be talking a little bit about that in a minute, about soft herbs versus the woody herbs and when you add them to your dishes. Alright, now I'm just going to, there we go, not using my hands, fix up my glasses. Mushrooms I'm going to slice, but I'll leave them on the chopping board because we'll add them just a little bit after we do the flavour base. When you're constructing a casserole, there's some really important aspects to it. There's the savoury, or the umami aspect of it. And that's where we've got the celery, salt in, and we're going to be putting a couple of other things in, and mushrooms add to that, and the beef. There's the salty, definitely, which is slightly different again. And what's really important also is the sweet, sour, bitter aspects. For different dishes, you'll want different things. So some you'll look for a sourness to it, and you'll add ingredients that'll give you that. Tomato will give you that, pineapple, and various other things will give you that sour, lemon and the like. And some dishes really look for that. Others Okay, and other dishes steer well clear of that and want just that savoury sweetness. So most traditional stews and that are savoury and sweet. So you achieve that sweetness by caramelising your veggies, by adding a little bit of sugar in, things like that, adding stuff in that gives you that sweetness. We're going to today be introducing that sweetness by caramelising our vegetables and caramelising our meat. So first thing we're going to do is come over here to the stove. We're using a heavy base cast iron pan because it's going to go into the oven to cook. So we brown on the stove top and then we're going to finish it in the oven for slow cooking. You can use a pressure cooker, slow cooker type arrangement as long as it's got a browning part to it, because that browning is really important for getting flavour. So with cast iron, enamelled cast iron, don't put it on full bore. Don't put it on full bore with nothing in it because it will explode bits of the enamel off. I'm using butter as my oil today, but you can use olive oil, vegetable oils. You can use clarified butter, which is also known as ghee, coconut oil. You can use most of the nut oils like peanut oil and the walnut oil and things like that. Sesame seed oil don't use because it will it's got a really strong flavour and will burn really easily. Maybe a hastily drunk coffee in amongst that. So here we are, here's our seasoned beef. We're going to brown this. So if we just get a shot of the melted butter, that's perfect. Start to bubble, but not brown, because we don't want to cook the butter. Though you can do the brown butter sauce of I don't know, there's a fancy French word for brown butter sauce, which is just a burnt butter sauce where the butter toasts a little bit, and it's nice. It's not what we're going for. So we're just going to put our beef in, not too much. We don't want to crowd it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to let that brown. And if your beef, when you're cutting it up, is really juicy and the like, just blot it with a paper towel, because you really want it dry at this stage, because it won't brown. It'll just sort of start to stew, and when that happens is you don't get that yummy caramelization of the meat, that beautiful crust that just adds so much flavour to it. So I'm going to let that happen. I'm just going to grab a plate to put the cooked beef strips on so we can do our veggies. Quite yet. See, this is brown, but it's not crusty, so we want that beautiful brown crustiness like you get on a steak. Being cast iron, we're cooking slower and lower, which means that it takes just a little bit longer to achieve that, but yummy. So if you had a really heavy copper pan or a metal pan, you can run it a bit hotter, and this process will be a bit quicker. That's fine. I've just got the Aldi special cast iron pans.
Do you want to tell people what happens should you heat up a cast iron pan without anything in it?
Oh, I could show you this. Just a sec. Be rubbish through my pan. I've got
This may be noisy.
This is about to be a little bit noisy.
We'll focus on cooking meat while you make the noise.
Alright. Sadly, this happens. Now you can get it re-enameled. I think that costs about as much as what the pan does. I need to check that up. So what's happened here is that enamel's just chipped off. It just blasts off. The surface not food safe, not great for cooking. Need to be careful.
So it's in retirement.
So this pan is in retirement until I work out whether I can get it fixed, which is what I'd like to do. It's a beautiful pan, just not usable.
Keep our kids away from the cast iron.
Keep your kids away from the cast iron. Or the enamels.
Or the enamel.
So see, beautiful. We're getting a bit of sorry you guys don't get smell-o-vision. This is smelling great.
So at this stage, could you put herbs into if you want to flavour it?
Generally not. You'd use dried powdered herbs at this stage. What will happen is they will stew.
Yeah.
So I'll show you what point we'll add them in, because we're going to be adding some in ourselves. It's a little bit after. So the first step is browning the meat, and then once you've browned the meat, we'll caramelise the vegetables. At that stage, you can put your herbs in. Your woody herbs, not your soft herbs. So your soft herbs like basil and sage and the like, and parsley, leave them until really late in the...
So maybe we could have a look at those.
Yeah, let's go have a look while we're waiting. So today...
Nice shot there.
Had work done. Nice woody herbs. We've got bay leaves from the garden, from our bay tree. Rosemary. Now rosemary's great with beef or lamb. Keep it away from the pork and the chicken. Thyme. Again, I wish you could smell what we're smelling. This is all freshly picked about 5 minutes ago. It smells great. So these are your woody herbs. Those you can add early in and cook all the way through the process. If you come over here, I've got some parsley. Sage is a bit in between, but again it's a soft leaf, and basil, especially marjoram, those sort of herbs. Leave them towards the end. I mean, that beautiful smell, but you just lose it if you throw it too early in the cooking process, and they might get a bit bitter as well. So our beef, our first round of beef is ready. So we pull that out. Now we're not trying to cook it all the way through. We just want to brown the surface. Again, make sure you don't crowd your pot so you don't make it too cool too quick. Now I'm just using normal butter, a bit of unsalted butter, or you can use salted butter, it doesn't really matter at this stage. Alright, we're just back here with the last of the beef browning away. Just about finished up here. Now look at all that beautiful flavour left on the pan. This is why you don't want it too hot as well. You don't want to burn that, but you also don't want to get rid of it because there's lots of beautiful flavour there. So that's the last of our beef. Now, if we were going to use some more spices, you can put spices in at this stage because they'll toast up beautifully in that butter and meat mix. We're not. So now we're going to add our chopped veggies, some garlic. Grab a fresh teaspoon for that, and a little bit of flavour enhancement. Now we're going to use some Asian shrimp paste, and it smells disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.
Now it's lucky you don't have smell-o-vision, I can tell you that.
But what happens, you can use, instead of that, you can use fish sauce, even an anchovy or two. Now, even if you don't like anchovies and you hate fish, can I recommend you give this a go? Because what happens is something magic happens when you're cooking. The shrimp flavour or the fish sauce flavour or the anchovy, it just disappears and mixes with the beef, and no, just magic happens. It's just beautiful. So I'm going to show you some other alternatives you can use. So this is a fish sauce you can use in various different brands. You can get in the Asian section usually. If your wife doesn't catch you, you can steal some of her anchovies and pop them in. And all else fails, Worcestershire sauce. Now that stuff is mostly fish sauce with a bit of sugar and other things in it, so use that sparingly if you're trying to avoid sugar. So I've just got my veggies in here now. The moisture in the veggies is lifting off that crust off the bottom, so that's going to be yummy and in the stew as well.
And you could use a little bit, if it's not lifting up, you could pop a bit more water in there if you needed to.
Yeah, a little bit of wine, a little bit of stock. If your wife lets you steal her from her wine stash. So I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons. So roughly with chopped ginger, it's about a teaspoon equals a clove. This is a little stronger than the no-name Chinese stuff. But what is important is that it's added now so that it fries a little bit and cooks, especially if you're someone like me who can't actually handle garlic too much. Getting it cooked and browned and caramelised at this stage, again, does amazing things to the caramel, to the garlic. It just turns it into an amazing flavour enhancement rather than hitting you over the head with garlic. Alright, now this is where we add, look at that, it's disgusting, but it is amazing.
And smelly.
So smelly. So what we've got left there, that's enough for 2-3 dishes. So I'm only going to add that much to the sauce, to the dish. And how I usually tell whether we've got enough is if someone comes out of one of the bedrooms and starts complaining about the smell of the fish. Usually means you've got just enough.
It's a bit like curry.
A bit like curry in that way. Oops. We won't follow that bit of onion that left out. You can see there. So, yeah. Yeah,
This is not the enjoyable part of the meal.
Oh. See, I know it's going to smell, taste magic.
And look, don't get me wrong, it tastes amazing and you cannot smell it at the end. It's the same with the anchovies, it just disappears.
Yeah, my kids used to complain bitterly about anchovies and that, but what they didn't understand is that every single beef dish they ate had an anchovy in it.
Yeah, they won't eat anchovies, so...
Yeah.
You know.
What they don't know, they don't complain about.
Except when you put this in your nose.
I think your neighbours will know.
So this is only for the hardened culinary people there out amongst you. You know, start off with some anchovies perhaps, and then if you get game and you're feeling like you're confident and you want to step up, go for that.
Alright, our thickly sliced mushrooms, they can go in at this stage. Now, mushrooms are amazing absorbers of moisture.
That's where you put the wine in?
No, we've drunk all the wine. Shh. No wine in this dish. I mean, you can put wine in. There's always time for wine. But this dish, we're going to be adding the wine to ourselves separately. Unless you're not a drinker, then we'll have a coffee. So we'll let that just brew away a little bit. I might add just a little bit more butter. As I said, mushrooms just absorb butter though. Again, they just turn butter into flavour. So even though we're going low keto with this, we're definitely not going low fat. So if you're doing low fat, sparing amount of oil at the start, and then to add moisture you could use stock. Works quite well. Just butter gives you more flavour. Even now the fish smell is starting to dissipate and join in with the garlic and the veggies and the beef smell. It is starting to go magic already. So we'll let that just cook for a little bit more. So we're just cooking. See how the onion's gone clear? We want that just to go just a little bit more honey brown, because this is where we're getting a lot of our sweetness with this dish, is in these steps, in the browning. That gives the sweetness.
We don't cook with sugar, but if you were looking for sweetness, there is other options of bringing the sweetness in.
Yeah, I mean, in other dishes you could throw a handful of sultanas or raisins in. Some apple works really well. Even just, like a couple of spoonfuls of chutney.
Brown sugar. Brown
sugar's amazing. Golden syrup, if you whatever you need. Even white sugar will do it. Also, a squirt of tomato sauce, because that's, tomato sauce is kind of amazing because it's got the sweetness, it's got the sour, it's got the saltiness, all really well balanced. Just don't let anyone see you do it. Any chefy type people, they'll get all aghast, but
it's got all the elements.
It's got all the elements worked out nicely for you. Just don't add so much that it just tastes like tomato sauce. It's just working out the balance. That's all it really is. Now this is, see how it's just browning up nicely. Mushrooms going a little bit soft. It's smelling amazing, I'd like to say. All the flavours are just sort of joining in together. At this point, I'm going to reintroduce the beef.
Now, with the veggies, you could put at other points, what other veggies could you put in if you're going to put in other veggies?
Oh, definitely. Look, swedes, turnips, parsnip, carrot. Carrot I would normally put in just about everything, but again, these are veggies I've got to avoid for keto. Any of those root vegetables are amazing because they just... Again, like turnip, if you just mash it, tastes rather, a bit like bland potato. But if you slow cook it like this, it just goes like honey. It's beautiful. Celeriac, you can add at this stage potatoes. Keep them whole because you don't want, because they will sort of fall apart and dissolve. So you want them.
Unless you want a thick.
Unless you want a thick stew, but. Potatoes are a little flavourless like that because again you want it to caramelise. You want that flavour of the skin and the caramelisation of it. So like a chip. Oh, look at that! It's looking good already. So beautiful. Oh, look at that.
And folks, it's lunchtime. We haven't had lunch, and this is killing us. We're sacrificing for you guys.
Alright, so what we're going to add now, some tomatoes. You can use tomato paste, fresh tomatoes chopped, it doesn't really matter.
We're going to do a pan, 360 pan, so I'm on the other side of Nathan.
Oh, look at that, because our tomato crop at the moment,
here we go,
are a bit green. That's for another dish.
So we've cleared out our summer veggies, including our tomatoes. So we have some green tomatoes.
So we'll be cooking with them a little bit later. So I'm going to add in some diced tomato into this. A little bit of cracked pepper. So Esther's just got to look away because she'll always complain about how much pepper I put into things.
Not a pepper fan.
Not a pepper fan.
Yeah.
Look away.
That's why we have a big grinder that people can add later.
Very much so. Salt and pepper. Hold off adding too much. You can add a little bit at this stage, but hold off until the end because you can always add more salt and more pepper. Very hard to take it away.
I'm going to go over there and show you what it's looking like right now. Nathan likes to be around the kitchen a lot.
Sorry.
Camera doesn't always cope with movement, so sorry for fuzziness, guys.
Alright, and now this bit's gonna break Esther's heart.
I know what's coming, don't do it!
This is a bone broth that I've been cooking for the last...
It looks pretty crappy, guys, can I just say, but it's very, very amazing. So how long do you cook it for?
This one's been cooking for 24 hours.
This is going to be part of my lunch. Go in there.
Oops, some more peppercorns going in. Shh, look away.
So it's
This is a bone broth.
So just pretty much, and this is a good recipe, guys, for, you know, if you've got no meat and there's bones knocking around, grab those beef bones. And they make this absolutely amazing strog. So what's the ingredients, Nate?
With this, you roast your bones for about 20 minutes, half an hour, or just fry them in your pan until they're nice and golden. Again, you want to get that caramelization. Then add cold water. Really important, cold water till you cover them. An onion, raw. Don't brown it. Some celery, a little bit of pepper, and some herbs. So in that one went my standard trio of bay leaf,
Nathan's golden herbs.
my golden herbs, some rosemary, and some thyme. Now in this dish, I'm going to not put the rosemary in. Went in there, actually I can throw that into that one in a second. And I'll throw some thyme in. Now, nice woody herbs, fresh from the garden, give them a bit of a rinse. You just want...
This is why you grow herbs in your garden, guys.
And these ones are magic. Yeah, well worth the investment.
If you it's a good time at the moment to do some gardening, but what would you recommend for herbs in your garden if you're going to start out? Say if this was your first foray into gardens, what would be your essential herbs?
Parsley, and more parsley. Rosemary, thyme, and grab a bay tree. Little one. They can be a little frustrating, bay trees.
Yeah, I've had some hits and misses with bay trees, but once they take, you'll get a big one.
So we're doing okay at the moment.
And they can take a little while before you can harvest them too.
Yeah.
So
they're the main ones. Sage is great. And that's because sage is so handy. You can use it with pork and chicken and beef and lamb. You can use sage everywhere.
So are we having a bit of a break now? Is there anything more we're adding?
No, what we're going to do...
We could go out in the garden and have a bit of a look.
What I'm going to do, pop the lid on that, turn the stove off, and this is going in the oven. So that's it for round one.
And what temperature would we put this at?
Cast iron, 150. No hotter. So 150 is all you need. Nice and gentle heat. And leave that. Now, that's the hardest thing. Leave it alone.
Don't touch it.
Don't touch it. 3.5 hours. Don't touch it.
Smells good. Don't touch it.
And then, after about 3.5 hours, we're going to come back. We're going to take the lid off. And then we're going to touch it again for another hour or so. So we want about 5 hours of cooking That last hour reduces down the sauces to this amazing gravy and caramelizes the top a bit more, and done. So now we've got time to wash the dishes, clean up
in the garden,
and then Esther's going to take you for a walk in the garden.
No, Nathan's gone.
Oh, I'm coming too apparently. All right.
Hold and do stuff.
Show you, and I did. But before, while all the juices and that are in the pot and before it goes in the oven, it's also a great time you can add in some pulses, so some beans. So I'll show you what we've got in the cupboard. We quite often will throw some lentils in. Oops, let me get it out of the cupboard. Make it easier for you. So just some tin lentils or tin beans, or some dried beans like a soup mix, or just some white beans or the like. They're really good for padding out, adding protein in if you're a bit short of money. A tin of beans is 69 cents from the supermarket, and as opposed to $10 a kilo for mince. So like if I'm doing a pasta sauce or the like, quite often I'll halve the amount of mince and throw in a tin of lentils. Tastes great, and it gives you that protein without losing any of that flavour. But in a casserole and the like, some dried beans in there, and they're amazing, and you get this beautiful flavour and heartiness. So yeah, they're really worth having a play with. So let's go out to the garden, and apologies for the weeds.
Hopefully that's something COVID-19 will be good for.
Yes.
Also, apologies if we still are cleaning up after our making for Geelong
After dark.
After dark.
And our washing on the line, so ignore that. So what we've got here in the garden, we've got some sage. That's beautiful, as I said, for your pork and your lamb and your chicken, everything that is. Our lemongrass is not quite ready for picking yet. So this is the lemongrass here. So this is beautiful. That gives you sort of like a gingery, oniony flavour to your Asian cooking. Here's our bay tree. He's coming along. He's just about ready to be popped into a bigger pot. Because we're renting, we do a lot of stuff in pots. We've got mint here. That's really yummy for desserts.
So this one here, this one's a spearmint. It's a longer leaf. This one's taken a bit of a hit from the snails, but this is just your normal mint.
And we've got another mint here in the garden that tastes atrocious.
Yep, don't get it.
Don't get it. It goes wild. But
It's I even forget what they call basil. That's what it was. It was supposed to be perpetual basil. If you ever do get it, don't ever put it into your garden, because it's now I've got to look at getting it out.
now this is a curry bush. It actually tastes like curry. It's amazing. It's just beautiful. This is amazing. Thai basil. It's just astounding. That's beautiful flavour for.
It's very strong.
Very
but it gives you that real kind of Thai taste to you.
Oh, crispy pork with that, just amazing. This is our spider garden. I'm not sure if the camera will pick
We
up.
have a lot of spiders.
We like-
I like them.
Because they take care of other bugs. So this is our rosemary, and that's just, pluck off a stem whenever I need it. It gets raided really often. And down here amongst the weeds,
As I said, apologies for the weeds. It's on my list of things to do now that I'm home and not doing stuff for July Hospital.
thyme, and that just grows wild. It's beautiful. All right, we'll do a quick little edit and cut, and we'll take you around the front to show you.
There's also, this is the curry tree.
Oh, curry tree, yes. I keep on forgetting to use that.
It's a very, again, one of those very strong tasting herbs. Again, not for your beginners. I wouldn't get into it unless you had you're looking for things to grow. We'll stop it there and go out to the front.
We may have lied a little bit going around the front. We've got some chives here. We've just got them growing in a pot. And our poor parsley that needs some love. We need to
This is the old parsley. It needs to be pulled out, but the young ones are coming through.
We've got some curly leaf parsley there. That's starting to come on.
Can't see that. There we
There we go, that's starting to come on. And we've got some Italian parsley, which is really nice as well.
So what's the difference? What's the difference in flavour with those two?
The curly leaf is a little bit stronger, but really interchangeable. Yeah, that's not much difference at all. And now we've got some ginger here too, but we've never actually picked it and used it.
Well, that's more of an I believe you can eat it, but I've never been game enough to try. But we do actually have some ginger from Diggers, which has had a bit of an attack from the snails. I'm trying to organically source some stuff for snails. I'll keep you posted if I find some. And this is Japanese ginger. So this is they have edible pods. We'll get maybe an image so that you can see that there's these pods you can use in cooking. So I've not seen, these are just new in, so we'll see how it goes. And we've got a banana here. So this is a cool climate banana. It's quite young, so I wouldn't expect any fruit for probably another year or two at least. There's a blueberry here, not a herb, but it's a bush. I mistakenly put it out in the sun. Don't put your blueberries out in the sun, guys. They like shade. We've got some tomatoes that, because they're undercover, we're hoping that these will continue to grow and fruit. And the other one here is a turmeric. So this has only just started to sprout, so we're going to see how that goes too. So now we're going to take a break and take you to the front.
Excellent. Now I'll take you around the front. Now we've got a north-facing house, so this is our sun-loving garden. So we've got some different tomatoes out here that are just on the browning. They've just got a red up, ripen up.
This is our decimated bed where all our green tomatoes came from, but we still have left in here some basil. So it's always great to plant basil with tomatoes. They go well together and they're supposed to stop.
And in here we've got little baby cucumbers. So yeah, he's not doing too well. But I've planted some carrots. Oh, here's some more rosemary. This rosemary will grow over the edge eventually.
This is like so I probably planted this about 6 months ago, and it was really literally about that big. So it's doing quite well considering, and it's going to be in no time at all. That's going to be huge.
And we've got some radish in this garden as well, and some cauliflower, and some.
This nasturtium's looking a little bit weather beaten. We just took out the huge plants that were there, so these are just leftovers from the seeds. And nasturtiums are edible.
Yeah.
So this is in the lawn here is one of the flowers from the big one that we took out. But you can eat that. You can put that into your salad. It's a little bit peppery. Chili.
So here's our son's chili farm. He loves his hot chilies. We're not such a big fan. I mean, I'll eat them, but not quite as keen as he is, and Esther and Ben can't. And these guys here are great at keeping down your insects. Says he with insects rolling over. Calendula.
But they tend to attract them, so that's doing its job.
And
okay, now you'll probably be able to hear the boys in the background. They're on Discord, so that's their bedroom.
some more chilies. These are, what are they? These ones are the habaneros. We've got some reapers. We've got all kinds of things. And what's this guy here,
That's I'm not sure whether it's a cucumber or a troubleshooter. I think it's a cucumber. So we have a zucchini trombonino. I was late in getting them in, so they aren't really fruiting as they should have. They should really be sort of pretty much well done by now, but it's still throwing out flowers, so I might get something before it gets cold. The frost will pull. We used to have a tarragon. Oh, actually, we still have a tarragon plant. It lives. Okay, that's the first time I've seen that one back again, so I'm pretty happy about that. And this is the so you'll see with parsley, this is what happens, and that's what you saw the old ones. So they'll throw seeds, but the thing with them is they'll throw seeds and it'll grow again. So see this one here, this is actually a young one that's come up from the seeds. Another little tarragon plant here too, so gotta be happy about that.
So
and that's the dead part of it.
The tarragon's amazing with fish and chicken and that, so it's great for that.
Yeah, so as you can see, there's we do a lot of potted gardening with some successes and some not so successes, but we're kind of seeing how we go. Because our backyard's quite shady, with the pots out the back, they never quite worked. So these are prepping up. We're going to get some single cabbages in these with maybe some herbs or lettuces underneath them that are faster growing.
Alright, so we might make a cut here. G'day, now we're just about halfway through now. It's been about 3 hours, so we'll check how it's going. Beautiful. So I'll give that a bit of a stir. I might put a little bit more stock in. That's just been beautiful. Oven might have been just a little bit high. That's alright. That's just looking beautiful. So I'll put just a little bit more stock in, and then we'll just cook it uncovered for a little while, for about another half hour, 40 minutes will be right.
Why would you need to cook it uncovered?
What we want to do is just caramelise that top a little bit more. Again, that sort of adds to the sweetness of overall of the dish, and makes it very yummy. So just put a little bit more stock in. You don't want it drying out too much. So this is just my, you can just use powdered stock made up with water.
We'll put a recipe up for the stock.
Yeah, or you can make your own stock, or even the I like the even the no-name Woolies cartoned pre-made stocks are really good too for doing this kind of thing. So there we go. So we sort of wanted about that sort of consistency. So what we're going to do at the end is we're going to put a bit of sour cream in it at the very end to make it more like a strog. So I'm going to pop that back in the oven. I'll turn the oven down just a little bit because I reckon just a little bit warm. The problems with my oven is whilst cleaning it repeatedly, the numbers have come off the dial, so I'm not entirely sure what the temperature is, so we go roughly. Alright, we're going to leave that for half an hour and let's go.
Thanks, Dave.
Alright, well, now it's time to finish it off. It's been sitting in the oven and it's reduced down beautifully. That's a little bit too much colour, but we won't tell anyone. Let's turn the oven off. That's looking good. So all up, that's about 4.5 hours cooking total. Yeah, and it's just beautiful. So
it's not a dish to do when you're in a hurry.
No, not unless you've got a pressure cooker, and then that's a completely different animal. So we're just going to take out our sticks from our herbs. Leave the bay leaf in, that's always a nice little bonus extra for someone. Oh, nice one. Alright. Now, at this stage, normally you'd pour in some sour cream. That involves being far more organised than I am. So, I have cream and I've got a little bit of lemon. So you can make your own sour cream by putting a squeeze of lemon or a little bit of vinegar in just normal cream. I'm just going to do it in the pot. So, good glug of cream in. We'll stir that in. Again, this isn't a dish for those that are on a low-fat diet. Alright, this is low carb, not low fat. Alright, beautiful.
But you don't have to do this to your stew.
No, you don't. But at this stage, if your stew is still not quite thick enough, you would thicken it up with a little bit of roux, like a bit of flour and butter mix, or a little bit of Gravox, a little bit of corn flour, anything like that, mashed potato, anything really that you want to, that'll thicken it up. But this is, as you can see, all the right consistency. I'm just going to grab a knife. Lime juice, just a small squirt.
What does that do?
Well, it does two things. One, it reacts with the cream and helps thicken it a little bit, but it just adds that just a little hint of sour into the herbs.
Which is what the sour cream.
Yeah, which is what the sour cream does. So I've just sort of replicated sour cream with a bit of sourness and a bit of cream. That's all sour cream is.
So you could do that with vinegar too?
Yeah, definitely. Vinegar will do. A little bit more careful with vinegar. It's obviously stronger. And vinegar, look, the better the vinegar, the better the flavour. But, you know, white vinegar will do if that's all you got. So that is ready to serve now. Just got some water on. I'm going to do some buttered noodles for me and the boys, and I'm going to do some ribbon zucchini for Esther. I'll finish off with a photo of it being served, and alright, we're down to our last bit now. Done some noodles for me and the boys, and some ribbon zucchini for Esther. A little bit of butter on everything to lubricate it nicely. Put a bit of salt on if you wish. I use salted water, so we season it at that stage. And we add our strog.
Oh, and by the way, that zucchini's from the farm next door.
Which is amazing. I love their stuff. Beautiful fresh food.
And it lasts.
Yeah.
Because it's picked the same day.
Really yummy. You know, it's grown without any chemicals. Beautifully done. Yeah, nice bunch of guys and girls too.
I'd say pay them a visit, but now's not the time.
No, but if you jump on their Facebook page, they are doing deliveries through the bicycle network.
Yeah.
And if you're a person that lives in 3214, half price. So yeah, get onto it. They've got some beautiful stuff. So here we go. So our strog all served up. I was thinking we may have had some leftovers, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen. Pop that in for the boys to wash later on. I'll give them a head start with a bit of soak. Garnish and enjoy. So there's a bit of the flat leaf parsley from our garden. Not only does it look pretty, it actually does taste good and it adds to the flavour of the dish. So there we go. Beef stroganoff, cooked slow, my style. Thanks.